Space exploration changed everything. It redefined what humans thought was possible. But how do you train for the unknown? What does it take to walk among the stars? The Gemini program proved we could adapt, innovate, and thrive in the most challenging conditions imaginable. Let's dive into the story of how NASA's pivotal missions unlocked the future of human space exploration. All right, buckle up, space nerds, because the Gemini program was NASA's ultimate training montage in the lead-up to landing on the moon. Picture this, it's the 1960s, space exploration is in its toddler years, and NASA's like, we just figured out how to yeet one guy into space. But what if we send two? Enter Gemini, named after the constellation representing twins, because NASA clearly wanted to flex its poetic side. This program was the bridge between the Mercury missions, which basically proved humans wouldn't immediately pop like balloons in space, and the Apollo missions, where we actually got our moon boots dirty. Between 1961 and 1966, NASA launched 12 Gemini missions, 10 of them crewed. And they weren't just joyrides. These missions were designed to figure out how to do, well, everything needed for a moon mission. First on the to-do list, rendezvous and docking in orbit. You know, like parallel parking but 17,500 miles per hour faster. Then, they had to test long-duration space flights because Apollo missions weren't going to be quick lunch breaks. Astronauts on Gemini missions lived in a glorified tuna can for up to 14 days. Because what's better than being stuck with your coworker in zero-G with no shower? Oh, and let's not forget spacewalks or EVAs, extravehicular activities. Turns out, floating in the void of space isn't as glamorous as sci-fi makes it seem. It's exhausting, and NASA had to go back to the drawing board to make suits that didn't turn astronauts into human stress balls. Gemini also nailed precision re-entry and landing. No more splashing down like a drunk bird hundreds of miles from the recovery teams. And the tech? Next level. These spacecraft had digital computers, fancy for the 60s, maneuvering thrusters and docking hardware. Basically, Gemini was where NASA started rolling out the upgrades like a gamer building the ultimate spaceship. Let's talk achievements, because Gemini didn't just try cool stuff, it nailed it. There was the first ever space rendezvous with Gemini 6A and 7, where the two spacecraft flew within literal feet of each other. Gemini 4 gave us the first American spacewalk, with Ed White drifting outside the capsule like the ultimate look, mom, no hands moment. Gemini 8, first docking in space, commanded by none other than Neil Armstrong, who also saved the mission from going full disaster when a thruster went rogue. And Gemini 7 set a new record for human spaceflight endurance because apparently 2 weeks in space wasn't challenging enough. The astronauts? Absolute legends. You've got Buzz Aldrin perfecting spacewalking on Gemini 12, John Young kicking off the first crewed mission, and Gus Grissom proving the Gemini capsule could handle 2 people without imploding. And let's not forget Neil Armstrong, who was already pulling off hero-level stunts before his one small step on the moon. Now, Gemini wasn't all smooth sailing. There were plenty of hiccups along the way. Spacewalks were physically brutal at first, leading to new suit designs, and missions like Gemini 8 faced emergencies that could have ended in disaster. But every challenge was a lesson, and those lessons paved the way for Apollo. Think about it. Without Gemini, there's no lunar module docking, no moon boots, and no Neil Armstrong dropping that iconic line on the surface of the moon. So why does Gemini still matter today? It showed us that huge leaps in space exploration start with small, crucial steps. The program's innovations, like docking, maneuvering, and spacewalking, laid the groundwork for Skylab, the Space Shuttle, and even the International Space Station. Basically, Gemini is the underrated middle child of space programs, and it deserves way more love. I'll leave you to discuss in the comments about the Gemini program's legacy. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and I'll catch you soon in another video.